A number of videos ago, I talked about how people have incorrect attitude about saying, pay me now, then I will learn something. And I think it's always the other way around, where you learn something, you gain experience, and then you ask for a raise. And today I want to do a story. I will talk about how that applies personally to me, what I've done in my career to gain experience first, and then ask for money. And it worked out really well for me. So let's do that today, if you're into stories, that is. So this attitude is very common, especially with people who are just starting out and they're looking to get promoted, they get a raise or something like that. And when someone says, hey, you want to do this? And they're like, well, pay me first, then I will learn how to do that. And I've encountered that a number of times. And this is something people not necessarily said to their boss, but they maybe mentioned it to me as a person in another department or peer, and they're like, well, they're not paying me enough for this, I'm not going to do that. And so that's really what I take issue with, is that kind of attitude. Because if you're going to be waiting out for someone to pay you more first, you'll never get anywhere. So the way I got into lead support is through technology. I'm a tech guy, I've been a computer nerd, and the way I learned to be comfortable with computers, to fix them and troubleshoot them and all kinds of stuff, is by doing it. So when I was going to high school, lots of people were getting computers back then, and they had issues. And some people were asking, like, hey, Nikolai, you know how to do this. Can you stop by my house and help me fix my CD-ROM drive, right? My CD drive doesn't show up anymore. What's wrong with it? I don't have no idea. And so I would go to people's houses and I would actually help them out. I didn't even have a concept of asking someone for money to do that, which was probably stupid of me. And I would show up at people's house, I would look at the problem, try to figure it out, solve it, and kind of moved on with my life. I kind of was just being a helpful guy that people could ask to fix stuff for them. And while I didn't make any money doing it, it gave me experience to actually look for a job in technology, because now I knew how to troubleshoot different problems that people were experiencing, like your sound card not working, your CD-ROM drive not working, some other problem with a hard drive or something else. Now I had that experience, and from there I applied for a job in lead support company. And when I started working in lead support, I brought over the same kind of attitude with me. And so when a boss would show up and say, hey, we have this new load file, can anyone try to figure out how to do it? Everyone would be like, okay, I got things to do, and no one wanted to look at it. And I'd be like, all right, let me take a look at it, see if I can figure it out in Excel, or maybe I can write a program or do something like that. I wasn't asking for someone to pay me to figure out how to make this new load file no one's seen before. On another occasion, my boss comes over and says, hey, Nikolai, could you help us install Schedule Plus? It's what the calendar was before it got integrated into Outlook. And I'm like, I don't know anything about Schedule Plus. I don't know how to install it. He's like, well, do you want to learn? I'm like, sure, I'll learn. So I had to figure out how to set it up on a network, how to get people to share it and all that stuff. But point is, I was the one who did it, while everyone else just went to their comfort zone and were doing whatever it is that was easy. And that brings us to present. So right now I do my software development, I create message crawler, and people come to me saying, Nikolai, can you figure out how to import this specific type of chat data into the message crawler? And I don't know, but I always say, hey, send me a sample, and I will spend my own personal time sitting down, figuring out if it's even possible. I'm not asking for people up front to say, okay, pay me money and this and that. And a number of occasions I did get burned, where someone sent me a load file and they claimed like, oh my God, can you parse this XML? As soon as you get it to work, I will buy your software. And I spent hours and hours figuring out how to parse that, only for them to just disappear and never purchase that software. But again, I don't feel bad about it, because this was a type of XML that I've never seen before, and now I have experience and I have a piece of code that can parse it. So now if there is another application that follows same patterns, I'm already 90% there. I just copy and paste the code, fix things up, and I can build additional tools for my application. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that whenever you do work for experience, you shouldn't be taken advantage of. You should be paid a reasonable rate. And if you are truly trying to get experience, well, you may want to spend some time to suck it up, do it. And once you do gain that experience, then you either ask for a raise or quit your job. You should never be working at the place for a long time that's underpaid and just takes advantage of you. Some people really do need that experience in order to move to the next level. And you just have to suck it up and do it. That's what I'm talking about. So those are my stories about getting experience first and then monetizing on that experience later. I encourage you to take the same approach. If you had similar experience, put it in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you on another video.